The second issue of the Age of Republic comic was focused on Darth Maul. Written by Jody Houser, it had ties with the original 5-issue run from 2017 by Colin Bunn, and Luke Ross returned for the artwork, connecting the two stories very nicely. In it, we see Maul at some point after the events of his 5-issue series, in which he killed a Jedi Padawan named Eldra Kaitis. He has now taken up her name for his very first criminal syndicate, the Kaitis Cartel. While Sidious makes connections with the upper class of Coruscant, his apprentice makes connections in the criminal world. This is, of course, foreshadowing his future as a crime boss, seen first in the Clone Wars with the Shadow Collective, and later in Solo with Crimson Dawn. Since his master has forbidden him from interacting with any Jedi, Maul seemingly spends his time hunting down Force sensitives, confirming their abilities in the Force, and then killing them. Sidious is understandably not crazy about that hobby, so they go on a little trip. Taking the scimitar, they return to Malachor, a place they visited together when Maul was younger. The first time around, Maul breathed in the ashes of his long-dead brethren and saw a vision of the Jedi murdering the Sith. This time, he voluntarily breathed in the ashes and experienced a new vision. This time, he saw himself as a Jedi, a protector of the weak, complete with a blue double-bladed lightsaber. He defended his own species against some kind of creature, and was praised for defeating it, but rejected what he saw and killed all those he just saved. He then found himself surrounded by an army of Jedi, and the vision ended. I think it's pretty interesting seeing the different ways Jedi and Sith experience visions in the Force. Luke, Rey, and Qui-Gon found themselves all confronted or tempted by the dark side, but Vader and now Maul have both been tempted by the light. They've been shown alternate realities or futures, what could be if they chose a different path, but both Sith Lords rejected what the Force showed them. I also think it's interesting that the first two Age of Republic comics have featured Force visions. I'm already impressed by what these one-off comics are giving us. It's far deeper than I expected, and I hope they continue to be thematically connected like this. The comic ends with Sidious imparting some final wisdom onto his apprentice. Through the Force, Maul saw that the Jedi currently have the numbers and the support of the Republic in their favor. The Sith cannot defeat them without evening the playing field. Palpatine assures him that they will lose their advantage. Of course, he is referring to his plans for the Clone Wars. I brought this up last week in my review of the Qui-Gon comic, but that's why his plan is so brilliant. Not only do the Clone Wars put the Jedi on the front lines with troopers that will eventually betray them with a simple phone call, but more importantly, they're brought low in the eyes of the galaxy. The Guardians of Peace and Justice serve as generals in a war going against the core of their beliefs. They're proven to be no better than any other flawed being in the galaxy, and the legend of their greatness is broken. It makes it that much easier for the galaxy to believe that they would betray the Republic they swore to protect and attempt to take control from the Chancellor. In a matter of years, Palpatine is able to create a legacy of hypocrisy and failure for the Jedi Order. The final page of the comic, strangely enough, shows Palpatine promoting balance in Maul. He's a creature of anger, rage, hate, and passion. His master taught him that these emotions give him strength. Sidious admits that patience isn't a virtue of the Sith, but that without it they will fail. I think he's absolutely right, but I also think it's possible that, like the Jedi, the Sith may have lost their way a bit. The ancient Sith Lord Momin even said as much in the 24th issue of the Darth Vader comic. He sees how the Sith have become focused on revenge against the Jedi, and it made him sick. Despite the disdain they have for each other, the two biggest orders of the Force aren't all that different. That's part of the reason I was so intrigued by Kylo Ren's suggestion that he and Rey let them both die. Starting fresh didn't sound so bad, but then he had to go ruin it by wanting to rule the galaxy and keep the war going. Jerk. But yeah, these Age of Republic comics so far have been way better than I expected. Sure, only 2 have come out so far, but they've given me a lot more to think about than most of the other one-shot comics, and even some of the 5-issue comics. I'd recommend them if you haven't read them yet, but that's all I've got for today. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.